All right, here we go. Welcome into NFL Daily right here on Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Coming up on today's show, some Day 3 NFL Combine winners and losers as the quarterbacks were chucking it and the wide receivers partaking in some of those workouts as well. And Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida, really stole the show. This is a guy who has an insane athletic profile, and it really set up nicely for him to just dominate and really impress a lot of people during Day 3 of the NFL Combine. And in the process, he set a bunch of records for quarterbacks in this particular event and really wowed a lot of people as well. Ran a 4.43 40-yard dash. That was number one among all quarterbacks yesterday on Saturday from Indianapolis. His vertical jump of 40.5, the best for a quarterback ever, going back to at least 2003 when they started charting these things. A 10'9" broad jump that also led the class, and he checked in at 6'4", 244 pounds. When you watch the tape of him at Florida, he has that physical profile that really does stand out to you on the tape. That was the tallest and biggest quarterback measurement among all QBs in this class. And with that deep ball, throwing some of those out routes, the in-breaking routes as well, he had some velocity and zip behind the football and displayed a bazooka for an arm. But here's the thing with Anthony Richardson, and I thought it was funny how everybody was taking to Twitter saying that this guy is going to be the next bona fide superstar in this league. Don't let these workouts in this gear without pads fool you. We know that Anthony Richardson is a freak. Here's my big question with his evaluation. Can he consistently win from the pocket, deliver throws accurately, consistently, and in stride? And when defenses start to make some adjustments against what he does well, can he counter? And if he can't rely on his legs, can he win consistently from the pocket? Because in 2022, Anthony Richardson at Florida, albeit the supporting cast wasn't that elite, he wasn't really a great quarterback, and the lack of production really does concern me. The highlights with Anthony Richardson, they're incredible, but the lowlights were rough, and I have a problem with his consistency when it comes down to playing and maneuvering the quarterback position, because the lack of production, it really is a big concern for me if you're thinking about drafting him number one overall, which was some of the talk on Twitter yesterday, which I think is an overreaction. If you get him between 10, 15, maybe in that 17 range, somewhere in that range of the first round, and you can develop and mold him, and he doesn't play right away, I love him as a quarterback project. But if you think that he's going to vault up draft boards and be the number one overall selection, that's when I have some concerns. Because last year, he completed less than 54% of his passes, 2,500 plus yards, and only threw for 17 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So when you compare that production or lack thereof with the likes of a CJ Stroud, who we're about to talk about, or even a Bryce Young, it doesn't really even compare. And beware, we have fallen in love with athletic freaks at that quarterback position before. Zach Wilson after his pro day, everybody went crazy because against a non-defense, not going up against anybody else, throwing against air, Zach Wilson looked great. But has that translated to in between the lines and on the field? No, it hasn't, because Zach Wilson is an absolute fraud and a bust up to this point. And also with the vertical jump, this is a tweet that for a lot of people, it took off. It got the retweets. It got the favorites. When has a vertical jump ever mattered for a quarterback? I frankly don't care if a quarterback can jump very highly vertically. Can he complete throws accurately and consistently? That's what it comes down to with his draft evaluation. Now, I will give Anthony Richardson some credit because he took advantage of this stage, and he performed extremely well, and I think he's a fascinating quarterback prospect. I'm certainly rooting for him, but from an evaluation standpoint, that's where I had those concerns. But he did impress a lot of people with his team meetings, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, who said this: one league exec called Richardson a blend of Cam Newton, Josh Allen and Justin Fields. And multiple teams I spoke to this week said his interviews were impressive too, and that the quarterback was comfortable in those settings. So once again, credit to him for that. And you make the comparison between Anthony Richardson and Cam Newton, they really do have very similar physical profiles. But for Cam Newton, he was amazing at Auburn, right? And then he played and won a national championship by beating Oregon. Anthony Richardson didn't have that level of success, but the size, 6'4" and 1/4 for Richardson, 6'5" for Cam Newton. There's 4 pounds of difference in between the weight. 40-yard dash, Richardson, a lot faster than Cam Newton, a better broad jump by 3 inches, and a better vertical jump by 5.5 inches. And you look at how Anthony Richardson compared in the 40-yard dash to previous quarterbacks in the NFL Scouting Combine. He was faster, as we said, than Cam Newton, a lot faster than a Tim Tebow, clocking a faster 40 than Justin Herbert. Josh Allen way ahead of Patrick Mahomes. So once again, the physical profile, it's daunting for Anthony Richardson, but what is he going to look like as a passer in this league? Because, yes, I understand that the league is changing, and Jalen Hurts has changed how a lot of teams view the quarterback position because of him being a dual threat. I just want to see him throw a little bit more consistently and accurately because he missed a lot of layups when you watch the tape at Florida. So with that, the biggest talking point from this weekend, Anthony Richardson blowing everybody away, but would you take him in the top 5? T for take, P for pass. Let me know down in the comment section right now. Our next NFL Combine Day 3 winner, C.J. Stroud. I thought that he approached this very smartly. He did the throwing drills. He didn't do the other athletic testing. And I think for him, because he lacks some athleticism, that's pretty smart. But let's once again go back to the lack of production for Anthony Richardson. That's not the case with C.J. Stroud. And on the biggest of stages against the national champions in the Georgia Bulldogs in the college football semifinal of vaunted defense, what did C.J. Stroud do? He looked really good. He picked them apart, and he excelled as a passer through the air. And I believe that's how you win in this league. Richardson is the freak. Stroud is not athletically. Stroud has elite production. Richardson does not. And you look at what C.J. Stroud did in 2022, I like him as a quarterback prospect. I have him at number 2. I have Bryce Young at number 1. And I have Anthony Richardson at number 3 ahead of Will Levis. 63% with his completion percentage last year. Threw for nearly 3,700 yards. And incredible. 41 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. So the decision-making very, very good. And Anthony Richardson had less than 20 passing touchdowns. Against air, too, Stroud threw the football really well. And I love the NFL Scouting Combine. I think that it is important for a couple of reasons. For instance, a guy like Nolan Smith, a guy like Keely Ringo, we know that they're solid players on the cusp of maybe being a first-rounder or a second-rounder. If you impress a little bit further with your athletic testing and your performance at the NFL Combine, that's when it matters. But for a guy to run a 4.2 40-yard dash with no college production, I really don't care. And against air, these quarterbacks should look good. That's why with a guy like Max Duggan, who we're going to talk about on the tail end of today's show, when he doesn't perform well against air, that's when it catches some eyeballs and some people start to get a little bit concerned. Now, for C.J. Stroud, did not do the athletic testing drills. As I said, I thought that was smart, considering he's not an elite athlete. But cater to your strengths, right? And show everybody out there that you can ooh and ah them and wow them with throwing the football and really spinning it. That's what C.J. Stroud did. That's why he's one of our winners. So who's the best quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft class? I listed my top guys. Who's your top guy? Let me know down in the comment section right now. More winners to get to, and then we'll get to our losers. First, though, Athletic Greens is a supplement that I take every single day, and it's really changed my life, and it's helped me out for the better. AG1 is where it's at, and you can get 5 free travel packs and a year's supply of vitamin D by using our link, athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I take AG1 every day, and you can get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try because given my work schedule at ChatSports, combined with my training regimen, as I'm approaching 300 straight days on my running streak, I wanted sustained energy, I wanted to stay healthy and keep keep my immune system strong so that I can strive toward my professional work-life goals on air and my personal fitness goals as I take my health very seriously. I take AG1 every morning as part of my routine, and it sets the table for the rest of my day. It's helped improve my gut health. It's boosted my energy. It supports my immune system, and it helps me recover since I'm putting such a toll on my body. It's why I love AG1 and its 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. I just mix one small scoop of AG1 with water. I drink it first thing each morning or before and after my workouts, and I love that something that's this good for you costs less than $3 per day. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement and routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Head to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. The link is available in the comment section as well as in the description of this video. NFL Combine Day 3 winner number 3. It's Stetson Bennett, who a lot of people have questions and concerns about as we get closer and closer to the 2023 NFL Draft coming your way the final Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of the month of April. He's 25 years old. He's not going to tower over you physically by any means, but he was impressive yesterday. There's really no other way to put it. Ran a 4.67 40-yard dash. That's pretty good speed. Obviously not to the freakish likes of Anthony Richardson, but still pretty good. He threw the ball with nice placement, touch, and accuracy. Launched some pretty good deep balls and actually unloaded on some balls downfield that a lot of people didn't really realize that he had that type of arm strength. And with his size, with his athleticism, him extending plays out of structure, he gives me some Brock Purdy vibes, and Purdy was really good for the San Francisco 49ers this past year, and he might be 25 years old, but you can't discount the resume. Played in the best conference in the SEC, going up against elite-level competition, and won back-to-back national championships, which is fantastic for Stetson Bennett, was a Heisman Trophy finalist as well. And I think with Stetson Bennett, with how he performed on Day 3 and during the NFL Scouting Combine, you can get him late Day 2 or Day 3, and I believe that you are going to get absolutely sensational value for a guy who can be a spot starter, maybe even a good starter in this league, like Purdy displayed with San Francisco, or if you get a high-level backup for the next 5 to 10 years, that's a really, really valuable position to have on your roster, because the worst place that you can be is if your quarterback 1 goes down and you're screwed at that backup quarterback spot, your season is a lost cause. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, let's talk about him next here as a Day 3 winner. Didn't run the 40-yard dash. It was a little bit of a disappointing season for him in 2022 as he only played in a couple of games because of a lingering hamstring issue. Didn't play in the college football playoff either. I would have loved to have seen him play and partake in that game going up against some really good DBs at Georgia. But even though he didn't run the 40-yard dash or do the athletic testing drills, he did run his routes. And this guy is a slippery route runner who is so clean going in and out of his cuts. I think that you can make the argument he might be wide receiver 1 in this draft class because of the route running, because of the clean mechanics in which he runs with, catches the football in stride very, very easily. He has the vertical speed to take the top off of the defense. He's a route technician and can basically complete every single route on the running tree. Injuries are a concern a little bit with Jaxon Smith-Njigba, but 2 years ago, during 2021, he was really, really good in Ohio State. It's been a breeding ground for some really good wide receivers in the NFL draft, especially recently with a guy like Chris Olave, who Darius Slay named one of the top 5 wide receivers who he went up against during 2022, and he was a rookie that year. Bryce Young, I believe, also a winner during Day 3. He didn't do anything else but check in physically, and a lot of teams were looking at that scale. They were petrified. They were worried about the weight, and they probably still are. But for him to probably add a lot of water weight, as he was probably taking down a ton of water all throughout the last couple of days, to check in at 204 pounds, that's heavier than a lot of teams had anticipated. And if Kyler Murray can go number 1 at 5'10", 1/8 of an inch at 207 pounds, I think that Bryce Young can go number 1 at the same height and 3 pounds less. He's my number 1 quarterback in this draft class. I worry about the size for sure. That should be a concern. But what is the NFL doing? And what has been paramount for this league over the last couple of years? Protecting the quarterback. And the rules are catered to doing just that. And I believe those rules are going to benefit Bryce Young. Big game experience, anticipation, touch accuracy, solid athleticism, a great pocket feel and pocket mobility, played in a bunch of big games, and he completes the big boy throws. Does he have a cannon for an arm like Anthony Richardson? No, but I believe he has a better feel for that quarterback position than a guy like Anthony Richardson. If you haven't subscribed to us here at Chat Sports, you're making a massive mistake. Our NFL draft and free agency coverage, it's going to be off the hook, and the best coverage right here on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe and lock us in, and I'm going to challenge you. If you want great, informative, entertaining, and consistent NFL coverage every day, year-round, let's get to 328,000 subscribers with this video. We're closing in on that mark. Now, without further ado, our NFL Combine Day 3 losers. Let's begin with Max Duggan, quarterback out of TCU. So with Max Duggan, he was awesome in the college football playoff semifinal against Michigan. I wanted to see, with him most likely entering the NFL draft at that point, how he would go up against an elite defense in Georgia. He was terrible in the national championship game, and TCU really didn't have a chance after that first quarter because he missed guys time and time again on some NFL-like routes and throws. And then at the NFL Scouting Combine, his accuracy was really, really wobbly. The good with Duggan, he ran a 4.52 40-yard dash. And for a team that likes to run the RPO at the NFL level, Max Duggan can be a really good fit. The bad with Duggan, he struggled mightily with his accuracy. He couldn't complete simple out routes during Day 3 from Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium in downtown Indy. And that's a massive, massive concern. And my take with Max Duggan, you could talk about the athletic traits. You could talk about how, he's like 6'2", 6'3", 220, 230 pounds. That's probably what his playing weight is going to be when the NFL season comes around. Look, this is what I worry about when it comes down to a quarterback. You can have a crazy arm, right? I need accuracy. I need touch. And Max Duggan hasn't really displayed that throughout his entire college career. Look, Harrison Graham, he went to TCU. He's a bigger Horned Frogs fan than anybody out there. He was real in his evaluation of Max Duggan. We were talking about him. He has struggled throughout his entire career with accuracy. That was once again the problem during the NFL Scouting Combine. And what's concerning is what we talked about briefly a little bit earlier. Look, I think that I could go to Lucas Oil Stadium right now, 6 foot, 180 pounds, and I could chuck it 50, 60 yards, and I could complete some balls and turn the heads of some NFL draft evaluators. I'm kind of being sarcastic. But if I'm missing some of those routes, when I'm not playing against a defense and I'm going up against air, that's when it becomes really, really concerning, and that's why it's concerning for Max Duggan after Day 3. I think he's slipping now to a late Day 3 draft pick. Teams like the experience, they like the skill set, the numbers that he put up this past year for TCU en route to a national championship. But accuracy, touch, he lacks that. And he was not good against Georgia in the national championship. So NFL draft evaluators are going to keep note of that because that Georgia defense, they run a pro scheme with a lot of pro players, and Max Duggan was not good. More Combine Day 3 losers. How about this wide receiver class? Not only are they slight and light with their weight, a lot of these wide receivers are slow, and that includes a couple of guys who some people were high on going into the Combine, including Jordan Addison. Look, I'm not going to knock Jordan Addison for running like a 4.5 40-yard dash. I don't think that he's going to slip dramatically down some of these draft boards, but he didn't really test all that well athletically when you look at the relative athletic scores. I'm going to be honest, sometimes this stuff is way too nerdy for me. I want to put on the tape, and I want to see how these players play. I want to see the production, and basically it's a boost to your stock if you do perform well at the Scouting Combine, and if you don't, you're not going to tank off my draft board, but the red here on this chart is not good, as he checked in a little bit shorter than what people thought, a little bit lighter than what people had anticipated and hoped, and a little bit slower. The vertical jump wasn't all that good. The 40-yard dash, the yellow speed there at 4.49, it really is just average. That ranked 12th among all wide receivers yesterday. The 10-yard split, that short area quickness, that too a little bit average. And then along those same lines is Kayshon Boutte out of LSU. After Jamar Chase, after Justin Jefferson, he was thought to be the next LSU wide receiver in line. And last year, he struggled with drops. He struggled with concentration. There was that weird report about what he engaged with the coaching staff. If you don't know, look it up. Kind of weird, not going to lie. But according to the 33rd team, they too have some concerns with Boutte's scouting report and scouting profile. Really struggled yesterday. His size and length, average. He did not get into the 4.4s on his 40-yard dash. What stood out the most, his 29-inch vertical jump and 9.10 broad jump. The jumps can be an indication of a player's explosiveness, and those numbers are extremely disappointing. A 29-inch vertical jump would be something expected from a 350-pound nose tackle, not an NFL wide receiver. Scouts will urge him to try to improve his jumps at his pro day in Baton Rouge. And for Jordan Addison, big pro day coming up in Southern California at USC. And for Boutte, massive, massive pro day for him coming up as well. And keep in mind that some of those times, some of those figures, they might be boosted a little bit because of the hometown scoreboard to a certain degree, if you get my reference there. So it's not the end of the day for a guy like Duggan or Addison, or a guy like Boutte, but going up against some other elite players in this draft class, they did disappoint a little bit. All right, appreciate all of you for tuning in today. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Make sure you subscribe if that's the case. But before we hop on out of here, your biggest winner, your biggest loser from day 3, shout out to Tom Downey and Sam Brown for grinding from Indianapolis all throughout the week. And then I had to come in Mariano Rivera style to close it out here on Sunday.